might be a little bit of reverb because of that, because I'm going to be picking up chat audio.
Sure.
Alright. Everything is going. Just kind of vamping for the moment. Just waiting for the stream to actually populate.
Yeah. So it's going to show up on just the Japanime YouTube home page?
Yeah, it should just show up there. It looks like we're live. Now I'm just waiting to see if it shoots noise at me.
YouTube home page?
Yeah, it should just show up there. It looks like we're live. Now I'm just waiting to see if it shoots noise at me. Yeah, it should just show. I'm just trying to make sure your audio quality is not the worst in the world. Go up there.
Well, I hope not.
You sound good to me, but it's a matter of like if the audio kicking out is
fair.
good or not.
I can't see the link on the
it takes a moment. So like it starts streaming on our side, which is live, and then like there's gonna be a bit of a delay.
Okay.
So I want my desktop audio. Give me that. Alright. We can double check with you as well when it goes. I also need to get that link so I can give it to Heather.
Everybody.
Everybody wants it.
I was about to be like, oh, where's my phone? I'm going to tweet it, and then I realized that there's my phone.
Right there. Alright, it is... It says there's 5 people
watching this.
Right?
Ready?
There's a bit of an echo? Okay. Cool. We're almost there. I just gotta give this to Heather.
Oh, okay, I can see it on the tubes.
Yeah, it's on there now.
Oh, cute borders.
Yeah, alright. So we're in here. What? Jap. Let's see, John and Colin. Pleasure to have you both in here.
Hi, John. Hi, Colin.
I'm sorry about the echo. Is the echo gone now? Which I'll get an answer to this in like a short delay. I just want to know if it's going out. If you want to talk for me, Maisy, just so I can make sure.
Oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Wait, is someone saying next to your phone's audio gets muted? Is my phone like doing double thing?
No, your phone's fine. I think it's like double catching on my end.
Okay. An echo on my side.
Yeah.
I mean, in theory, my headphones should be picking up my voice and my phone should just be ignoring me, but...
No, it's all, everything that's happening is on my end.
I will leave it to your wizardry because I've never streamed before, so... I wouldn't know what to do.
Colin and John. We're gonna futz around with this for a moment. You can chat about anything until like I'm gonna have Maisy just kind of babble, as Maisy is our resident babblefish while I'm fixing this.
I can definitely babble.
And then
does anyone like tea?
Oh, it's better now.
Oh, it's better? Well, I'll babble for a minute anyway because I want to say something about tea because that kettle right there is on my tea shelf. And I just want everybody to know that I have like 7 or 8 different kinds of tea on there.
I don't know if they can see it based on how I've cropped your camera.
Oh, damn. Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, never mind. Okay, wait. Let's do this.
Oh, yeah, I can see your...
There's my tea shelf.
Yeah,
right there.
Alright.
Hopefully that shows up.
And then for those in the chat, you can hear Maisy okay then? Is what it sounds like I am seeing from...
Yeah. English breakfast, good choice. I'm an Assam fan.
We'll wait for their response. But if it's good, I mean, this is why I always stream early. Okay, it sounds good.
Woo!
Sweet.
Okay, cool. Fixed.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us, and everybody who joins us in a later, like, VOD style kind of thing. I'm Jackson.
I'm Maisy. This is very exciting. Hi, everybody.
It is very exciting. I'm glad that the stream's actually working and it's not being goofy. So thank you all so much for joining us to talk about Tokyo Sidekick's launch today. Well, today for us. It was today for you earlier, Maisy, but you are...
Yes.
If you don't mind, I was going to say, most people, I think, don't know you. Give them a rundown.
Woo! Okay. Well, I live in Tokyo. I'm British, but I've been working with Japanime for a year and a half or more now, translating various things. And this child here is almost literally a child because I think I've been working on it for 9 months now. So it's finally out. But yeah, I translate things for Japanime and do lots of graphics and other random production things, and I do it all from the comfort of my own home.
I think we all kind of do it from, I mean, you probably do in general otherwise, but right now, at least for us.
Yeah. Yeah, not much has changed for me other than I'm not going to cafes anymore, so I'm less caffeinated.
Yeah. Heather is going to bed. Heather just put out an update with a link to the video as well.
Good night, Heather.
And we got some comments on your Oddish from John, loving it. I'm sure you see this stuff as well.
The best thing about Oddish is she's squishy. Look how squishy she is.
Oh.
No, so sometimes she's emo. I mean, emo Oddish.
I mean, Oddish does that. Yeah, we're going to talk about all sorts of stuff. I'm just trying to find where the stretch goals went, because we're going to talk about them a little bit. This is like the worst part about me doing things. I'm like, oh yeah, I want a thing, and then I don't have it ready. It doesn't help at all.
I have a list of the stretch goals somewhere, but there's a lot of exciting things, and I don't
Yeah, we can talk about it briefly when we get there. But opening tabs. Let's talk about Tokyo Sidekick as a general overview right now.
Like the gameplay, or
no, just like how the campaign. We'll talk about the gameplay as well. Let's talk about the campaign and how it's progressed so far, and then we'll talk about gameplay.
Last time it was at 44%, right?
Yeah, 44% after the first day.
Number.
It's, from my side of things, I'm really excited about it. Thank you for the luck, Yukari. I'm really excited for that. 44%, so over a third of the way there on the first day in the first 24 hours for an IP that, unlike Tanto, like to use it as a comparison as the most recent one, did 1,000 times what was expected, but it's also been around for 10 years.
That's 100 extra % for every year it's been around. Nice.
Yeah. And then, like, Testament, our last another Kickstarter we did was 25,000 as its goal. And we're at 50,000 for our goal for this one. So, you know, when you consider that, we would have almost been there if we were at our 25. And again, different production costs, but
it started for me at 1 a.m. last night, and I stayed up till 2 watching all those numbers tick and the comments and stuff, and it was really exciting. I was like, can I go to bed? Am I going to miss it being fully funded if I go to bed? And I woke up and it was the first thing I looked at this morning.
You would have gotten so many notifications from everyone.
Probably. I mean, I do anyway. I wake up and my phone just like, blah! But yeah, it was doing like an incountable amount.
Yeah. And I guess that's a great opportunity to talk about why we're doing a stream at the time we are right now, because it is your noon right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is my 8 o'clock in the evening, so it's like Europe kind of loses out, but
sorry, Europe. I mean, my little brother is here. He's in Europe. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
He stayed up till 4 a.m. just to watch it.
Oh.
That's commitment.
That is commitment.
All of you people in Europe watching later on that love Tokyo Sidekick, you're not committed enough yet. You need to get on that bandwagon.
Gotta get on the train. As everybody is properly gonna do if you commute in Japan. That or a bus. Get on the train, get on the bus. Everybody
get on the train in Japan. I think there's actually an incident in Tokyo Sidekick about a train wreck, even. Or maybe it's not a train wreck, but like something on the train, I can't remember.
I don't remember.
It was a long time ago that I translated it.
I don't remember. Let's answer a couple of these questions now. and then we'll get into some other stuff. So we'll start with Alice Plays first. Like, will the expansion come with cardboard standees or just the acrylic ones?
Expansion, as in the...
I believe
the upgrade?
The Akihabara web?
Oh, yeah. Akihabara web is acrylic.
So it's just acrylic, no cardboard?
No cardboard.
Cool. So that answers that question. Right there. Second one, which is a pretty good question, is like, why is the box so big?
Why not? Simple answer. But I mean, it is like absolutely chock full of components.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to show, because I don't think a lot of people have gotten to see the unboxing videos that have been out with the reviews or otherwise, so they might not know exactly.
Okay, well, let me actually put it in some order because it was sideways and now it's kind of
falling while you're doing that, that's fine. I can chat about some other stuff as well. I don't have a physical copy with me. I actually forsake getting a physical copy to give it to a reviewer.
That's just the kind of nice guy you are.
Oh, I would never call myself nice. I want it bad. I'll get a copy later. I want it real bad.
Yeah, you want the finished spangly copy.
I mean, I'll get that in time. I've not capitalized on my benefits of the copy.
Okay. Too much happening.
I mean, there's a lot going on, but I hope that, even you just sorting things kind of illustrates, there's a lot of stuff in this box.
There is. It's because I've been, playing with this box like a cat plays with things on your table, for, 2 days, so there's literally just everything everywhere right now.
Fair.
So I'm just going to put it all back in random places.
And we're going to go over a ton of stuff. For those who haven't joined us for a live stream before, especially because this is such an interesting time, we're going to go for at least somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes. I'm going to guess it's going to be closer to 30 at a minimum, just because of what's going on. But if you are here asking us questions, hanging out with us, keeping us engaged, we're going to hang out longer. That's just kind of how this works. So you feed us, we stay sustained, we feed you more info. The other part of the... Go ahead.
Get a cup of... I'm sorry, I was just going to say, if we are here for ages, I might get a cup of tea in the meantime. But...
Absolutely. Who knows? We're here for eternity. But
I mean, there's worse things.
There are. I'm pretty good company some days. But for the chat, that means ask us questions in the chat so that we can hang out with you. That is a really good question, John, and it is on my list, actually, of things to talk with Maisy about, because Maisy hasn't been on stream with us before.
Ooh.
As to the Kickstarter exclusive content, I can't talk about exactly what the Kickstarter exclusive content will be, but there will be Kickstarter exclusive content.
There will. I'm very excited for it, actually.
A lot of work went into it, and I am also... I'm really excited about a thing I can't talk about.
I felt like that for 9 months.
I mean, you've been working really hard. I think everybody.
It's been a fun project. Yeah, absolutely.
I can't discount how hard everyone's been working. I probably work the least hard. I just work the most extended next to Heather.
Not necessarily true. Hard work cannot be measured in arbitrary terms.
I believe Heather posted an update. I don't know if she posted the stretch goals yet.
Oh, so much to sort on. Tipped all over. Okay. I will say one thing about the box is the insert that we created is not final yet, and therefore a bunch of the things don't fit in there properly. So when I do show you, you'll be like, oh, what are those weird spots for? And I'm going to tell you that they will be less weird on the final version, and they will be infinitely more satisfying.
That's fair.
Come on, little tiny person.
Do you know if this document is the final, is correct?
Which document?
The planning document. I think.
The Kickstarter planning one?
Yeah.
I think it might be missing just a couple of things, but it's mostly ready to go.
Okay, cool.
It's mostly there.
Then we'll talk about some of these things. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't sharing incorrect information.
Yeah, it should be okay.
So while Maisy is still sorting, I'll ask you the question instead of just answering it myself. Can you match any hero with any sidekick?
Yes.
You absolutely can. We will actually have virtual demos of Tokyo Sidekick available during Gen Con weekend, which is it's in one weekend. It's not this weekend, it's next weekend.
That's really exciting. The box is kind of ready if you want to look inside.
Yeah, show off the contents of the box. Let's jump back over to that.
All right. Okay, so it is massive. Like, for one thing, hang on. I will do this.
It definitely doesn't have the miniatures that Gloomhaven has, but it is about a half the size of a Gloomhaven box.
Yeah. Whee! It's also gonna the front will be a bit shinier. This is just a sample copy, so it's gonna have like beautiful gloss printing on it. Let's see. I think I still need to go down a little bit for you to see it in the stream. Okay. Yeah. So you open it up, and there's this ginormous board, which is literally just the biggest thing you've ever seen.
It's a very big board.
You can't even. There you go. It's ridiculous. It's great.
Which is while you're continuing, which is very uncommon, at least for me, as somebody who, like, when I lived in Japan, didn't even know Japanese board games were a thing, and now I'm used to board games being very small, because space is a premium.
Yeah, space is absolutely a premium. Playing it, like, we tried to play even just Cox on at a friend's house, and we had to get like cardboard boxes to extend onto. So if you have a big old coffee table, you're fine. The next things, obviously the rule book.
Which we haven't posted yet either, but we will be posting.
I want to see it. I just want to kind of show you this.
Yeah, please show it off.
Ooh, it's so pretty.
So for those go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Karen.
No, please.
I was just going to say, this is like a nice spread of all the heroes and sidekicks that come in the base game that are basically, they've just got your, like, the ease of play and a good kind of overview, and then who they pair well with. So even though you can pair them with absolutely anybody, there's definitely heroes and sidekicks that go together better than others.
Dana, what is the question for why not specifically, if you want to clarify that for us while we're still showing off the box? Go ahead and continue, Maisy.
Okay. This is in the Kickstarter, right?
That is a comic. Right? That's a comic book. That's the comic.
Yeah.
That is going to be a stretch goal, I do believe.
Ooh, then maybe should I save that for later?
I mean, you can like, it's a teaser. It's a good little teaser that there's a comic that's going to come with.
For a fun bonus feature, our Discord, I don't know how focused this is going to be, but we have this emote in our Discord because this guy...
The Kiratani emote?
It's just so funny. Look at his little face. Look at him.
I don't know if you can see it.
He's so cute. But yeah, then you open the box, and so this is the bit that is sort of a bit weird fitting at the moment. It's going to be designed so that all the acrylics or all the cardboard can just kind of stand up in there, but at the moment they don't fit.
Yeah, Kiratani's got such a weird face going on.
And then you've got all your faces for your individual tokens, and then the giant menaces, because these guys are literally huge. They have their own little box. Look at the size of that. I have quite big hands. This is massive. And then, so you've got your power-up board, and then you've got
I actually had a question
board.
about that, because somebody posed a very good question in the review copies, and I couldn't find an answer to it because I'm a dum-dum. Why is the power-up board two-sided?
Ooh, that is actually in Akihabara Web, you use the second side. You'll notice that there's a different character on the back. So this is our Takafumi Nasu, who is the head of good. I'm not going to spoiler it because it blew my mind when I was translating it. I literally messaged the designer and I was like, "Oh my god!" The story, basically, he is part of the story. So you want to go and read the rule book, and then in Akihabara Web, you then will play this side.
Oh, interesting. Okay. That's good to know. Which kind of answers Colin's question of how much lore is attached to the game. The answer is a giant amount of lore.
A lot. Yeah.
Yusuke Emi likes to write, from what I have been told.
He does. Yeah.
Which I love.
Yeah, I really... Oh, hey, look, we've got a new friend hiding down there.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff going on in his head. It's great.
And so while you're still showing it off, how many game modes are there, for people curious? Is it one game mode? Is it multiple game modes?
As in, like, you can...
Is the game different in any way based on a game mode? And I believe the answer is no. I believe there is just one game mode.
Yeah, there's one game mode. It does sort of change a little bit with like more or less players, but it's not actually a different game. It's just how it feels. And then Akihabara Web is technically slightly different system-wise, because it's less like, well, it's more story-driven. That's why it's called a scenario as opposed to
So you are actually playing a scenario with it, using the base game rules, but you are trying to achieve an objective that is different than normal?
Yeah. I mean, you still have to kill the menace, but it comes out in a different way. You can lose via the story. There's certain restrictions placed on characters throughout the story because of things that they're doing in the story. It's just pretty cool.
And that's important. Like I think that's an important thing to showcase. Which then would lead to do the scenarios, which at least start with Akihabara Web. Do they connect with one another? Is there some sort of like connected chain between them?
As far as I know, they're all kind of like chronological order, but you can play them out of order in terms of like they don't necessarily I might be wrong because I haven't translated the other ones, and I haven't played them either.
But there's no legacy component. There's nothing like building from game to game, which is...
No, it's not like kind of a requirement to play one before the other, so...
Cool.
Yeah. I'm going to carry on showing off.
Please.
I really like this part. So you've got these giant cards, which are the kind of what they're called villain cards, and then also your sidekick and hero cards.
Which I think the spoilers that we gave don't showcase how big those items actually are.
Oh, they're huge. They're very large. And then underneath all of that, you've got even more cards because this game has way too many cards. Well, not too many. An appropriate amount of cards. And you've got like the little ones, the incident cards. Mm-hmm. So these will go on the map and you have to resolve them as you go. They've all got like little flavor text on them as well, which I think is really cool. The fun thing is trying to figure out who's saying which flavor text.
I think the only cards I looked at that didn't have flavor text on them were the energy cards and the damage cards.
Pretty much, yeah.
I think there was like flavor text on everything else.
And then there's also all these like level up cards and your dynamic family.
Yeah.
Cards for when you get extra characters, and they're just so pretty. And so let me find a cool gadget.
Yeah, please find a cool gadget. A good question from Alice is, does the insert support sleeved cards?
It does, yes.
Which may not be reflected with your sample copy, because that is a pre-production copy.
Yeah, at the moment it is not for sleeved cards, I believe because the factory didn't have the sleeves at the time, so they didn't measure them for that. But when I was designing it, I wrote down the measurements and so on of them sleeved and non-sleeved, and it will indeed be sleeve-friendly.
It's an important question to ask, and it's also a good peel, because I always like to show a little bit of the behind-the-scenes stuff, not too much, but a little bit. Like, the approval process can be lengthy, because we will submit something and be like, hey, make this, and then we'll get a sample, and the sample will be wrong, or it won't be what we said, or it will be what we said, and we'll find out that we were wrong for some reason. Like, who knows? It depends on, whatever you're working on. It'll be like, all right, cool. I guess we gotta fix this now. How do we fix this?
Yeah, right.
And so I think that's always an important thing to be like, yeah, it's not actually like it's perfect from the get-go. Like, there is a trial and error process of like, does this work? Does this work? We want to do this. How does this look? So
yeah, it's definitely been a long journey. Like half of everything that's taken so long. Like the translation was actually probably relatively fast, but then going back and forth between the factory and us, and like deciding on card sizes and sleeves and everything, just it takes a lot of, especially with time zones, takes a lot of going backwards and forwards and making sure things are right, and then also keeping track of where you've said things. There's a lot of like control find in Slack at the moment.
Organization is important, which is going to lead back to a previous question: is why not the puzzle board?
That was for concerns over if you not open it, but like what do you do with a puzzle? Undo?
Dismantle.
My brain is failing.
I think dismantle is a
dismantle,
good word.
Yeah, that was a good word. If you dismantle the puzzle pieces over and over again, then the edges might start to peel up. So we were just a little worried that the board was just going to start kind of disintegrating. It's a cool concept and definitely like useful on smaller tables, but I think for longevity, the having the foldy board is going to be a little better.
And some of these questions I know the answers to. I'm just asking you so you actually like there's engagement as well instead of me just talking forever. But it also like I love to just be an asshole and be like, tell them the answer.
That's okay.
But no, it absolutely, like, quality of life. A lot of the any kind of changes we typically make as a company are oftentimes for the long-term benefit of the consumer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as Lanniston points out, like, humidity can also be a factor in, like, how that will affect boards or board pieces. So.
Yeah.
But Alice asks, because Alice has a lot of questions, which I appreciate. Does the expansion fit in the base game box?
Yes. I think it will do. It would be a shame to throw away the box because I painstakingly designed it and you will like it. It's snazzy. But yes, I believe it should fit in the box. I've left a few extra slots for bonus acrylics and so on. I think if we do any other expansions, though, you might have to pick and choose which ones you put in. Also, because it's a scenario, each character's necessarily with the base game. So putting it in the base game might not really confer any benefit.
If you do get new heroes in the expansions, can you use them in the base game without the expansion content?
I don't think in Akihabara where there's one particular character that is a little OP, so I would suggest not using that unless you want a super easy game. But I don't see why you couldn't use the menaces.
I think that's a question of balance, right? Like sometimes a character is balanced specifically for a scenario versus being balanced for the game as a whole. And I think that's okay.
But I think it's very it's quite like a modular series. So if you want to play against a particular one, you can. I don't see any reason why not.
No. But it's always a question that comes up. Like sometimes you're like, but I really like this character and I want to use them. It's your game. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, house rules. We love house rules.
So, well, I think that was a good look at the box. I mean, it definitely showcases all the components.
Yeah.
Which I think...
I wish I had a sample of Akihabara Web already, though, but I don't. But
we could do that on another stream later.
Yes, please.
Maybe not during the campaign. I don't think we're going to have any of those available to us, but in the future.
Soon. Yeah.
One of these days. When I actually finish the demo. I have to import all the standees. I haven't done that yet because I was doing it the other day and then something goofed up, and so I have to go back and fix all of that because they didn't go
Oh no. Stuff like that takes so long to do.
It just takes time. That's really all that's going on there. Well, Maisy, as this being a big project for you, how do you feel about day one Tokyo Sidekick launch day?
I'm super excited. I've been wanting to just look at that Kickstarter number tick up forever and ever, and it feels really good. honestly, especially the comments that are like, amazing, good luck. I'm like, yay, thank you. And there's a few comments that are like, oh yeah, that's a good point. Which are also, encouraging because they'll be ready like for the next game or even during the campaign, we can make it better and better. And I just, I'm so like happy and proud of everybody and all the things because it's come together and the whole campaign looks great. And it's just, honestly, just very exciting.
Good. I also wanted to talk about that because, I haven't done a stream with you before. I think we have
Nope.
We've had phone calls, but we haven't actually gotten to perform, as it were, like we are in front of a crowd, which is very exciting. We actually have 13 people watching, which is pretty good for our live streams. Like we don't pull in big numbers,
but we pull in the important ones. You guys are all that matters.
Yeah. But again, a lot of people go back. Like our viewer count tends to go up after things get posted, but for our live streams, usually it's just me, and I'm only so entertaining. So I like
well, also I imagine that we have kind of foregone Europe, so that's got to be like a third of the world.
It's usually a good chunk. I know that I got yelled at a regular basis. I say yelled at, but people on the internet were mad at me at my other game company back in the day because they always felt like we neglected Europe. It's like, we're doing our best.
Aww.
We're really trying, but we don't have international fulfillment. I'm really sorry. Like, the world just hates international shipping.
It does. That's the problem. Like, Japanese games and stuff as well. I have a lot of people that are always like, I really want this game, even if it's not in English yet, but I can't get it to XYZ country outside of Japan.
And that's what's blowing me away about. There's so many people that have popped in being like, I know about Tokyo Sidekick, and I'm like, whoa, I just heard about this year.
Yeah, I think it's just such an iconic kind of looking game, right? It's a beautiful fusion of comics and anime, and it's just awesome.
I'm blown away with everything that is in regards to, like I said, I got to see the comic, I got to see the rule book before everybody else. I'm the last one in the company to get to see them, but I got to see them before the rest of the world.
Still before. You're fine.
Let's see here. That was a question. There was a statement. Well, I'm looking for other stuff. If you don't mind sharing, somebody wanted to know how you got into doing translation in the first place, like in general.
Sure. Yeah.
Check our other social media and check for questions that may have popped up.
Go for it. It was a pretty long kind of journey, actually. So I studied Japanese at university because I'm a loser and really liked watching Full Metal Alchemist, and I was like, oh, this language sounds nice. And at 18, I had no idea what to do in my life, so I chose Japanese. And then somewhere around third year, a teacher I had in Japan really inspired me, translation-wise, because she was just kind of exciting and cool, and she took an interpretation class that I elected to join, and at first I wanted to interpret because I'm quite a sociable person, and I thought that would be really cool and fun, like social extra time. And then somewhere along the way, I kind of realized that translation is more my jam, I think. Like, being social is fun and fine, but actually interpreting is a whole nother level of language, and it's less social and more just like like language goes in, language comes out kind of thing. So translation was more kind of my aim, and once I graduated, I was like, right, how do I do this? And I was terrible at Japanese. Like, I graduated somehow quite well, but honestly, I was just like holding up a conversation was pretty difficult. I got into like a translation company as a communication and support specialist. So I was working alongside the translators that time, and that wasn't very long. And then after that, I managed to find a job in Japan, working at a glasses company, actually, in the shop. And basically, I just spent a year and a half talking Japanese all day, every day. And it was tough work, but I can now give you an eye exam in Japanese and tell you about all your warranties and stuff. And then after that, I was like, well, my Japanese is good enough now. Now I want to get into games translation, which is kind of what I wanted to do. So I joined a games company, a mobile games company, but I didn't manage to get much translation done there because it was more like I ended up as a producer. So I ended there. and actually applied to just straight translation jobs. Around the time that, sort of just before I was leaving the mobile games company and stuff, I met Eric of Japanime at Tokyo Game Market, which was a pretty hilarious meeting, actually. He was just like, do you translate? And I was like, I do. And he was like, cool, what else do you do? And I was like, oh, I can do graphics and stuff. And he's like, I need someone that does that. And
that's
I think
very Eric. That's very much Eric.
Yes, I think honestly we kind of like just immediately bounced off each other's energy, which was pretty cool. And yeah, so he started sending me work around then, and then I joined the translation company. I learned a lot about actual translation as well, not just kind of like translating freelance stuff. And then I quit that about just over a year ago to go full-time freelance translation, and I've been living off translating board games ever since. So it took me quite a while. I didn't think it would take me quite so long, but I am here. Yay!
It's something that I talk about in general. I mean, yours is like a twofold part, right? Like, not only is it translating another language, but it's also working in the industry that you wanted to work in.
Yeah.
For that translation. And a lot of people want to get into the games industry in general, and sometimes you just luck into it. That's what happened to me, where I just like showed up and was like, hello, I'm very good at this thing, I guess.
Yeah. Honestly, it was the same with meeting Eric. It was pretty much like, I was already doing like a little bit of that, but then when I met Eric, it was just like the floodgates started opening, and he was like, I need you! And I was like, good, because I need you! And then,
that's how it works.
Very lucky meeting.
Let's answer some more questions for Alice.
Yeah.
Here, which is, can you adjust the difficulty? Which I don't think there is a way to adjust the difficulty inherently, but I think the menace you choose.
Yes, exactly, yeah. There's 3 menaces, and they are 3 different levels of difficulty.
How would you rate them?
Oh, I would rate them as tough, hard, and then nightmare, honestly. It's like...
And who is where? Because we can talk about all the menaces. Like, we've already talked about King Kaiju, and we've kind of teased the other 2. Like, is it Dokkan? Is Dokkan at the top, or is Dokkan in the middle?
You know, I actually don't remember. So King Kaiju is our bottom
easiest
one, our normal one.
The toughest.
Dokkan is the middle, and Fuji Sengen is the top.
Which is hilarious to me, because they go in inverse size. Like, Godzilla size, Kaiju size, to castle size, to a dude.
Well, you know, it's harder to hit a smaller target.
Sure.
You can also adjust the difficulty as well by the amount of players. So it's relatively hard on 2 players, and I think it gets a little easier on 3 and 4. But something that some people do is they'll just add an extra sidekick team in there. You know, like, it's not in the rules, but if you're finding it too hard, just stick an extra sidekick team in there and help yourself out a little bit.
Or add some more damage cards, because there's 25 total, but it calls for 20.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So the spare damage cards are to reduce the difficulty level. So there's various ways to, like, customize how you want to play it.
And they're also asking, do you do layout, as like in regards to the translation stuff? Do you do the layout as well?
Yeah. So I mean, obviously the Japanese rulebook is already laid out and so on. But in terms of the English text, it's often twice as long. So I put all the English text on top of the Japanese where it was. I'll make adjustments to the layout. Some things are just easier to read in Japanese with certain layouts, like subtitles and so on, are missing from the Japanese. So in the English, I'll just break it up with readability, or I'll add a nice little graphic because it looks easier to read with so many letters on the page and stuff. So yeah. I do all the layout and graphic type thing.
And I think, what is is culturalization? There's a term for like shifting the presentation and layout for a different audience, and I don't remember what it is.
Huh, you know, I didn't know there was a term for that.
It might be coming up recently, or I've just like found out about it recently. Either way, it is new to me.
I probably like graphics localization would be what I would call it right now, but yeah, if there is a term,
Yeah, localization is the term I've heard before, but there's like... I've recently started seeing the culturalization be used, and hopefully it has no negative connotations to it, because that would make me very upset to be using a word in a way that is harmful, but...
Google time markers, I think.
Who knows? And then as for Anime Gamer, there was a question about, does Akihabara... I'm terrible with Japanese these days. Does it come with acrylic standees? The answer is yes. It comes with the acrylic standees. Because we will oftentimes re-answer questions that were asked earlier, because you never know when somebody's going to jump into stream.
It's modular.
But shifting things, what do you want to talk about Tokyo Sidekick related?
Me?
Yeah, you!
Me?
Yeah, you!
Oh, I want to talk about how the characters, honestly, like, I'm just in love with all of the characters because they have so much backstory, and it just makes me really happy to be playing a game or even working on a game that is like, I feel like they're my friend. I know it's kind of lame, but like, did you know Tamaru he's the little dog, and he is like superior intelligent, but his mask is made for him by Alpha Kid, who is Samurai Man's sidekick. He lives with Kaguya Girl, who lives with James Q. Tiny, the butler dude who has the funny, like, face. And they're just, like, all completely super interconnected, and I really, I love things like that. So when people start reading all the stories and stuff, please talk to me about it, because it's like, when you read a book, and you're just like, I need someone to talk about this with, I need someone to nerd out with.
Well, in Grey Rabbit's Alpha Kid's granddad, right? Like, that's...
Yeah,
so, like, everybody is connected in some capacity.
Yeah, absolutely. And then my favorite thing about the scenario is they just, like, they deepen that connection, because it's a whole, like, it's a massive long story. And, like, for example, you'll find out that Haikyuu is, obviously she's, like, a super hacker in technology and stuff. And then the other superhero that is connected with that is Elikama. So he is, like, connected with Haikyuu in that way, even though they're not really, like, their superhero pair, they're still kind of, like, they interact. And then also Cyber Tengu, his wings were made by Elikama, and then Kevin Parks, who, like, got him the wing. It's just so cool. Yeah,
I love all of the, like, the web, as it were, the web that ties them all together.
Yeah, exactly. There's actually, like, in the rulebook, there's a nice little page that shows all of the connections and stuff, so it's pretty cool. But there's also, like, flavor text on all of the cards that has kind of a shortened version of their story, and then in the rules there's a bigger, like, a longer version of their story, and I just, like, writing all of those is so much fun.
Oh.
So, please read them.
Please do. I want to talk about it too. I love talking about it. So that said, top two characters for Maisy.
Top two? Okay, gotta love Smoothie Bear, because who doesn't love Smoothie? Look at him! Look at this little guy. He's so cute. And who else? Can I pick a villain?
Yeah, it's two characters of your choice. It doesn't matter.
Sweet. Okay, I also love probably Sushi Bot.
The Sushi Bots.
It's so cute. It makes me laugh. It's Dr. Uogashi, who is fed up with people polluting his rivers and sea with factory waste. So he's built a giant robot that flies through the sky and shoots lasers at everybody to get revenge.
I mean, it's basically like a Superman, like an old school Superman cartoon.
Yeah, it's great. You know what would be amazing? I wonder if they're ever going to do a comic about the villains instead of just the sidekicks. That would be really cool.
I mean, for Tokyo Sidekick specifically, or?
For Sidekick specifically, yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. One of my favorite graphic novels of all time is Wanted. Like, it's got a lot of really dark tones to it, but it very much posits what happens if supervillains took over the world and nobody knew about it.
Ooh, that's cool. Oh. I haven't actually read a whole lot of Western comics, but this game makes me feel like I want to read more.
There's so much, like, you can draw a parallel to any character from Tokyo Sidekick to a character in Western comic books. Like armor to, Iron Man, Samurai Man to Captain America, or any other, like Batman is another analog that I drew to.
Yeah, that's what I really love about what he's done with he's taken kind of character concept and mixed and matched them. Yep. So definitely with Eric Armour, you've got your Iron Man-ness, but then his butler is very Batman, and then he's got the Batmobile. Yeah, and then Samurai Man's name is supposed to make you imagine Batman's name, but then he himself is not too Batman-y, but he kind of is, and it's I just really like the way they're all mixed and matched. And then obviously you've got all the Japanese folklore characters in there. Yep.
Giant mythological crow.
Yeah, and then the Tengu, who is just this big old bird protector from the mountains, but he's actually just a Swiss dude that went on martial arts training.
Is that appropriation?
Is that a what?
Is that cultural appropriation?
I don't think so. If he was trained by the Tengu himself, right?
It's a good question.
And I mean, the Japanese people made them.
I know it's one of those things where it's I don't have an answer. I don't know.
I'm gonna go with no.
Yeah, I mean that's where I would lean to, but it's just one of those alright, it's a Swiss dude doing a Japanese mythology thing. How do we feel about that? But it's also designed by a Japanese person. I don't know.
I think it's mainly cultural appropriation when you use the thing that you're taking from another culture to do something unnecessary. So a Halloween costume or a parade or whatever. But I think, he's going around protecting Tokyo, so I'm pretty sure he's alright.
You didn't think I'd bring up social issues in a video for work, but I do.
Well, they're important, for sure. You know what's another social issue? Wear a mask.
Yeah,
Samurai man to wear a mask.
It's true. If you are out in public, wear a mask.
I just love that Samurai Man literally is wearing a mask, and it's time. It's the time.
I mean, Samurai Man, Vanilla Girl is wearing a mask. A full head cover.
Yeah, she's not taking any chances.
Cyber Tengu is, I guess the bottom part of his face is exposed, so he's not doing a good job there.
He's not. Elikama is doing alright.
Yeah. Oni is a brain in a jar, so that's...
He is.
That's fine.
Her story, his story and Haikyuu's story makes me laugh a little bit, because, she's basically this Haikyuu and Oni story.
Yeah.
She's this 18-year-old genius who's I can solve insane mathematical equations, and I revived my dead grandfather, but I have no idea how to human interact. And I feel probably there's a lot of people that will connect to that.
Yeah, I mean that is a very Japanese trope, and I don't know how to connect to people anymore either. I don't. People are weird.
Also, I think I was watching a review of the game the other day, and someone said, I'm not sure why Vanilla Girl is called Vanilla Girl. Maybe she's really boring. And I did definitely question this when I was translating it. I kind of suggested that maybe it is going to just make her sound like a really lame character. She packs a pretty good punch. And I have a theory that, two reasons why she's called Vanilla Girl. Is one, because she uses very traditional, just karate as her weapon. She's not a variant human or anything. She doesn't have a crazy weapon that she uses. So she just beats people up, which is awesome. And also her suit is vanilla colored. She kind of just genuinely looks like some ice cream.
That's actually what John just said, is that she looks like a vanilla flower. Yep.
Yeah. So she's not boring, guys, just in case you see that.
So going back to an earlier question, I'm going to jump around because I have no structure.
Jump around.
Have any of the team tried it out solo, playing multiple teams?
Oh, I have not.
I have.
Personally. Have you? How did it go?
It went fine. I mean, I lost, but it was also me, running the demo for myself to see how it functions.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a string of bad luck, basically, because that can happen in any co-op game, because there is a random element of, oh, cool, a bunch of these incidents are just going to blow up ruin my day. Cool.
Yeah. Did you like playing it solo? Was it fun to solo?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's not my ideal. I'd rather play with people. That's just my general. I play games to socialize. part of why I do what I do. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. The gameplay is very engaging, so it's something that I personally enjoyed about it. And I mean, talking about we could talk about the mechanics. It is a deck building game. You build your deck. Everybody gets the same 9 cards to start, and then 1 card that is specific to whatever their specialization is.
I'm gonna get the cards up.
But they are all energy cards. And then, as you go through the game, you're going to spend experience you get on things to upgrade your abilities, upgrade the cards that go in your deck. But the thing that I found the most compelling, and I don't know how you feel about this, Maisy, is the hand management aspect to the game.
Yeah.
Where you only discard cards you use that turn. Otherwise, you can take an action to discard cards. So you're not always discarding your hand at the end of the turn. You're also, choosing what to do in a turn, and then potentially prepping for a future turn in that same turn.
Yeah, I do love that about it. I love that you have the flexibility of being able to choose, which cards you're going to leave, which cards you're going to keep, and then potentially which cards you're going to plan to use during another player's turn, like when you help them attack, or when, if you're a multi-suite, you can just play cards on a different person's turn.
And that's something we haven't really talked about too much, is that you can interact with other players a bit on their turn, and there is even one character who gets to take turns while other players take turns.
Yeah, multi-suite. She's beast.
Yeah.
Let me find her.
Yeah. And the upgrades you get...
Melty?
Yeah, find multi-suite. The upgrades you get, if they are not energy cards, are in fact... So each character has their own cards that they upgrade.
Yep.
But the energy cards are like a shared pool that you can buy from to go into your deck. But your powers don't go into the deck. They sit outside of them.
So, wait, let me start. They start with the grey side, and then you pay the XP that is noted on here. And then you turn them over, and then that means that you now have these powers, and you have level 1, 2, and 3.
Oh. Oh no, my voice! Why you do?
What happened?
Oh, it just echoed, I guess. We'll see. I don't know why it's back. I didn't do anything different.
Oh, double voice is just more Jackson. What's wrong?
That's terrible. We don't want that.
Yeah, we do. More Jackson means more Japanime.
I don't know if that's true. Hopefully it resolves
Well,
itself.
at least means double Japanime.
Apparently I accidentally upgraded a power. The question is, why is it? Why is it doubling? I can't hear it.
You sound kind of ominous, apparently.
I know.
I love that. Whoa, Japanime Sidekick.
This is the worst. I hate when the thing goofs up like that. Let's just... I'm going to drop out my audio for a second and then put it back in and see what happens.
Okay.
So...
That means I can talk all the time.
You can keep talking. I'm going to keep talking. So...
You're still there, though.
You can hear me, but they might not hear me because it's going through OBS, so it's got an audio capture.
Oh,
so
okay.
I've pulled
that
myself,
makes sense.
I've cut myself out entirely, and now I'm going to put myself back in. So you can keep talking, and they're going to get.
I'll keep talking. So that was probably just like a one-sided Maisy going, okay, a lot of the time.
Exactly. If it's not, though, I want them to tell us that.
Sounds great now. And then, they can still hear you too. Sweet.
Okay, so they could still hear me. Interesting. Well, then I get, why is...
Let me show you guys... I want to show everybody the amount of energy cards there are as well, just to get an idea of, just how many cards people are going to sort of be playing around with in their deck. Cool. I think this is all of them. So this is all the energy cards.
That's a lot.
There's a lot. And you get level 1 will give you 1 energy, which allows you to do actions and stuff that cost 1. Then a level 2 will give you 2 energy, like this.
Yep.
And then level 3, price is 3 energy. There's 3 different kinds. There's power, speed, and concentration, and each hero is different has different like specializations and stuff, and then you can even upgrade their specializations. So there's so many things to use your energy and XP for.
Of typically 5 cards, like getting 3 on 1 is always better than getting 1 or 2.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like gold in Fairy Garden or Dominion. Like if you can get more, get more.
If they can keep.
This is where the player hand goes, by the way.
Yeah.
So you put your little energy cards like just down on here. You draw them onto here so that everybody can see what you do, and then when you've used them, you turn them sideways and/or put them on your hero card if you want to make it easier to see what energy is being used where.
No, that collaborative component to it.
Yeah.
But if they can hear me, I'm not going to worry about messing with it. OBS has absolutely no reason to be picking up my audio right now. Oh, cool. More things are just going wrong.
Video's frozen. No!
Frozen. Cool. Cool. Thank you.
Well, at least neither of us are pulling horrendously bad faces.
Yeah. I love though that like the moment it happens, like just everybody's like, it's wrong! It's wrong! Fix it!
Fix it! Fix it!
Yeah, we'll see why it's doing that. I'm just gonna...
Maybe if everybody prays to the Tokyo Sidekick gods, we'll get back.
I mean, I'm just gonna go back in and try to bring it back, and hopefully it does the thing that it should do. Oh, it didn't do that. Sometimes it does.
Oh, another cool thing.
Sometimes it do this, and it's a disaster. Capture the window.
Another cool thing about I'm just looking through all the cards right now. Please. Another cool thing about the heroes and stuff is actually 2 of them are originally villains, and you'll see in the story in the rules why this is. But if you manage to defeat them and pay the right amount of XP, then you can recruit them to your side, and then you'll have a 3-person team or a 4-person team if you get both, which is actually pretty fun.
There we go.
I was gonna show it to the camera and be like, "This is one of them," but
I'm just gonna bring the Zoom call up on it and get rid of all the fancy overlay stuff, and hopefully, it has popped back up because of that. So I'm just like, get it out of here, get it all out of here.
Oh look, now you can see way more. Woo!
Yeah, like I just stopped paring it down just through the call up, so all the fancy graphics are gone, all the dressings are gone.
That's fine.
But it looks like the video is going through, so like it's an easy fix.
This is my favorite villain. Look at it. It's literally a Maguro sushi, but it flies and has laser beams. It's so great.
I do love the sushi part.
Who else is good? She's pretty fun. She's literally just like clearly based on the ring, except updated for modern technology. She doesn't just come out of a CRT TV. She can go through any screen, like your phone screen or your computer screen or whatever.
Nice. So a good question that came up earlier is, are there any other yokai in this game?
So there is that 3-footed crow that we spoke about, Yata.
Yeah.
There is also, what's her face? Yasha the Witch. Where are you?
With the giant skeletons.
Yes. So she is, I think, from a woodblock print where I can't remember the exact story, but kind of the normal trope of woman is scorned somehow and takes revenge on everyone who scorned her. I think she was some kind of princess or something like that. But in Tokyo Sidekick, basically her show got cancelled, and then she turns to ancient Japanese curses and awakes a power within herself, and then goes and steals a skeleton from a museum somewhere and just makes it move around behind her.
You could use all the British jargon. We don't need to translate everything.
Okay. I'm never sure.
They can turn closed captioning on later, and hopefully between your accent and my weird muddied accent, they can understand both of us.
Hopefully. If not, tough.
No. But yeah, the thing we've learned is OBS is a beast as always, like even if everything's perfect, because I changed absolutely nothing and it just decided to explode.
Well, I mean, maybe it's having a bad day.
Are powers... This is a good question. Are powers only tied to characters, or could you build unique characters with custom powers?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say, in terms of like house rules, you could probably just try, like, for example, using Elikama's powers with another character that's good with, like the P power, as like the power concentration is P, like good with power, and see how that works out. I don't know. That could be pretty fun, actually. I never really thought about it.
A weird chaos draft like, kind of play.
Yeah, they are designed to work well with the character that they're on. Make up for places where they lack power originally, but I don't know. Give it a go. See what happens. That would be pretty fun.
Which, to fully answer it, yeah, the powers are tied to the characters, but
oh yeah,
you could totally do something weird if you wanted to. Like, no one's stopping you. At the end of the day, you can play Monopoly as if it was D&D if you wanted to. No one's gonna stop you. But
that would actually be hilarious. I feel like if you like proper ticket and put it as like, I am the hat, a gust of wind blows me one space.
Right?
I have stumbled upon Mayfair. I find it incredible here. I will try and purchase some land.
It's something that a friend of mine said is like, Monopoly could be a great game with the right play group. Like, it's all that matters, right? Like, it's whatever you want to make it.
Yeah. I passed the iron, but I am trying to steal. I'll take a perception check to see if the iron's trying to own this place.
Or to avoid paying rent when you land in somebody else's space. Like, I'm going to stealth on by.
Yeah, that's a good...
I'm going to use intimidation and not pay you. I'm going to intimidate you to make you pay me.
I like that idea. Can we do that?
I mean, sure. I will put it on Tabletopia and we will play Monopoly D&D edition.
Yes, please.
At some point.
I very much enjoy that idea.
I'm sure there's a game there. Like, who knows?
Yeah. I'm going to go turn my air conditioning on. I'll be back in just a sec. Oh.
Yeah, you do you. While you're doing that, like, I'll just kind of ramble, but you're hanging out, so.
My house is very small.
So let's check. I'm gonna see if the Kickstarter has gone up since we started, which probably, who knows? I don't know anything. I don't look at stuff.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
It's about the same. I don't think it's gone up much, which is fair. Like, it's getting towards our evening. It's your afternoon. Europe is asleep. That's par for the course.
Yeah, that's fair.
Coming next year, Monopoly D&D edition. I'm gonna talk to Ross at the Op with USA Opoly and be like, I got a game to pitch you. Give me money.
I want it. Give me money. That's what Monopoly's all about.
Give me money. Give me money, Ross. Give me money. Oh yeah, Alice asked that earlier while we're hanging out, and we'll talk more Tokyo Sidekick stuff. We'll talk about stretch goals. What are your favorite board games, Maisy?
Mine? Oh, that's really hard. Like, anytime anyone asks me my favorite anything, I'm just like, I'm gonna be lame. Actually, okay, so my friend bought me Codenames at Christmas, and it was very simple, but I love that one simply because everybody can enjoy it. Like, even my mom, who is sometimes a little bit like, wait, what's this rule again? She doesn't forget with Codenames, and she has such fun. Like, I really love party games. So also, One Night Ultimate Werewolf, that's a great game. I love that game. I will play that every time. What else? Oh, I played a cool game, a trick-taking game the other day called Caster. I think it's only in Japanese, but that's a really fun one where you basically just have to, like, always put down the same color, and if you put down the lowest number, you get to take the collection of the hand. But if you get more than 3, so if you get 4, then all your points go to 0. And it's like a great balance between trying to get many points in hands and then not getting that one last hand that will lose you all your points, but then other people are trying to make you get that last hand. It's great fun.
What about you, Jackson? Stealing all my thunder too. Like, I was gonna lead with us and then lead into that, but they're like, ask everybody their favorite games. Because I interrupt you, but like, thanks, Tim. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
I'm gonna publicly shame you.
Aw.
Not really. Continue though.
Well, what else? I don't know. I'm like looking at my games on here, and I don't think I actually own half of my favorite games. There's another Japanese one called Animal Mind, which is actually available in English, and that one's really, really fun as well. You basically have to like. It's also adorable. Let me show you.
Yeah, please grab it.
Look at how cute this is.
Oh, that is adorable.
Basically, it's a set collection game, but instead of collecting things, you offer them to other people, and they either accept or refuse. And if you manage to get them to accept a card that makes them go over the limit, then they lose the points, etc. We bought it because it's super adorable. Like, let me show you.
I also like the reverse trick taking. Like, it's sort of a reverse bluff, and I like that.
Yeah. Like, you have your accept card, and you're like on the reverse is the reject, so you only have a certain amount of accepts and rejects. Like, look at this this guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's gorgeous. So that art is phenomenal.
Right? And then, okay, so my favorite cards are the pets, because, so you might get a dud pet. Okay, it's only got one eye and a little chip in its ear, poor thing.
Oh, but I love it.
Right, and then you get a normal pet, which is worth 1 point, and then you get this actually, funnily enough, I don't like this pet as much as the other two pets, but this is the most points pet.
I mean, that is a very Japanese take on like what the illustrious like because that's like a magical animal, right? Like it's a magical companion looking creature.
Yeah.
So it's a step up from the regular rabbit. It bums me out that the one-eyed rabbit's at the bottom, because I think that's the best.
Right? It's adorable. Look at this golden egg.
Yeah.
So much egg. And then, I guess a lot of these are card games. I also played Fairy Garden the other day, finally, and it was freaking phenomenal. It was like Dominion, which I've been playing online with my little brother. Hi, Tim. And yeah, it's like Dominion, but it's got a lot more to do, which is really, really fun. So.
And just to call out for Lanston specifically, I don't know if anything that we talk about is going to necessarily tip you over the edge, because I don't think we can really talk about anything that like you haven't heard already. But like, you want to hang out with us, cool. I just don't want you to like be hanging out and be disappointed that you're not going to get an answer you're looking for. The best thing I can say is like, if you're on the fence, and this is like very unprofessional of me in some regard, like if you're on the fence, don't go for it. Like if you feel like you want it, get it. But if you don't, I don't want to try to twist your arm to make you get it.
But also at the same time, if you are on the fence, come back when the stretch goals are unlocked.
Yeah, that too.
Check those out, because I'm pretty excited for it.
Which is what that $1 pledge is exactly for. Like you can hang out. Worst case, like you drop it. So. Yeah, and we'll talk about the stretch goals. We're not going to talk about a lot of the stretch goals. We've already talked about one of the stretch goals, which is the comic book.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, I mean, I was going to anyway. Like,
cool.
If you couldn't talk about it, I would be like, Maisy, throw that across the room right now. Don't let anybody see what that was.
Yeet out.
Just yeet it out. But I like surreptitiously, like, and now this thing.
Yes, let's not talk about that. Yeah.
And, you know, there's a different philosophy, Laniston, about incentives being secret or not. Like, our goal is to fund the game. That's what we want to do. The other stuff is all icing on top. Some campaigns lay everything out ahead of time. Some do it in chunks. We very much like to be like, cool, here's where, like, we have everything set up ahead of time. We know what we're going to do, like, what we're going to look at for numbers on stretch goals.
I guess it's because we also don't want to disappoint, right? Like, if we have these things and they're like so close yet so far, then it might be like, well, we could have had that, but now we don't, and that would just be sad.
And that's actually the side we lean on, is to, like, we don't necessarily show everything off because we have things that we want to do, but we might not be able to financially be able to accomplish, and so we don't want to get people worked up about it. We actually saw that with the Tokyo Kickstarter. We got really close to the final stretch goal we had in mind, but we didn't hit it. But we did the math on the back end, and we looked at it and we said, you know what, we could actually include this for the price point we have offered, and we're going to include it anyway. Like, we didn't make it there, but we're going to add that on.
Yeah, it was really close. That's good.
Yeah, and I think every company approaches it differently. And so it can be seen as secretive, but for us it's the, like, we don't want to put a lot of really cool stuff that we can't actually accomplish there. And it is a double-edged sword in some regards. Like, oh, but if you put it there, then people are going to be more excited to get there. That isn't actually always the case. So, that's kind of where we end up on it. To peel the veil back.
Yeah. I'm looking at some of these favorite games on here as well.
It's a good list.
There's so many.
There's a couple on there that I'm like, I agree.
Also, John, you had a pet bunny with one eye and a bit missing from his lip. Adorable. I also had a pet bunny a little while ago, and it didn't have one eye, but it had a cataract in one eye, so it just had like one giant white eye. And bunnies are the best pets.
Bunnies are great. Rats are great too.
Rats are great. I've had 4, and they're just adorable. I used to walk to the shops with them, and they would like peek out of my sweater. It was great.
I have learned about them doing bruxing, which is like their teeth grinding.
Yeah, when they purr, right?
Yeah, the bruxism.
It's super cute. Yeah.
And they apparently also boggle.
What?
Boggle is like where their eyes kind of like bulge out of their head a little bit. Like you can see them like really excited.
It's is that what that is?
Like vibrate. It's interesting. They like push a little bit outside of the norm, and then they.
That's awesome. Oh, it's like a bunny when the bunny like gets all crazy and does a binky.
Yeah.
I think that's the most adorable word. And they just like, whoa! What was that? It's like my favorite thing.
Yeah, it's very much that. So boggling and bruxing are the things that rats do, and I found out about that the other day, and I was like, that's adorable.
I want to see him binky.
Right.
I want to see Grey Rabbit get really excited and just like jump up, stick his butt out, and have no idea where his back legs are going to land, and then be like, wait, what?
Oh, that would be amazing. He's such an old man.
That would be so adorable.
They call it popcorn. They referred to it as boggling to me for the rats. That's interesting that popcorning is also the term.
Popcorning? Okay, that's actually more adorable. Boggling kind of sounds like they're very confused.
Yeah. Also gameplay.
Yeah. Also gameplay.
Because boggle is a game.
True.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like, international shipping it's hard. It makes things a problem, and we're trying to solve that. We're actually looking into other international fulfillment opportunities, but we got to find something that works.
Yeah, there's so many things I've always wanted to back on Kickstarter or like buy on Etsy and stuff, and then I look at the price of the thing and I'm like, it's not too bad because I want to, support the independent creator, and then I look at the postage and it's more than the item itself, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I cannot imagine what things cost living in Japan right now. It's like, oh yeah, shipping, hooray.
Yeah.
Oh, we saw
trying to get stuff to America as well. It's really hard.
Yeah. People will periodically see my cursor as I'm like jumping through windows. Don't mind me.
Just like circle things so that it's
Don't mind me. Well, I think we can get close to wrap it up here soon, but let's talk a little bit more about Kickstarters. I know, like, the bait and switch, we're going to get to the end. We're going to talk about some of the late pledges a little bit. Or not the late pledges, the stretch goals. Because I know words. I know how words work.
My mom was like, what's a stretch goal? I'm like, it's a thing that when you reach a certain amount of funding, then it's an extra thing that we can put in the campaign. She was like, can you change the terminology so that it makes more sense? And I was like, I'm afraid I can't.
I'm not in charge of this. It's because we are stretching beyond our goal towards other goals.
That makes sense. I mean, I guess just like if you haven't heard of Kickstarter before or like been in the Kickstarter sphere, it is a bit of a random thing to come across at that, but it did make me laugh.
Yeah.
But I love that we have a stretch goal appropriate character.
Stretch goal for what?
A stretch goal appropriate character.
Oh, for Smoothie Bear? Smoothie Bear.
Yeah, our little stretchy dude. What is it? Was it like 500 meters or something up to that he can stretch?
I don't remember. I would have to look. Which is, that's so much. It's so much distance.
It is a lot of distance. But it explains why he can attack adjacent spaces.
Yeah, it's true, because they are, like, different districts. So, like...
Yeah.
When you look at the board, you're like, yeah, okay, that's a cool power. But then when you think about it, you're like, oh, yeah, that is so far away.
Yeah, it would mean, like, you're in Akihabara and then just attacking something in the next town over. Sure, I'll just reach over Seika, why not?
Get them. I think a cool thing to talk about... We'll do a lump. I think a lump is going to be something to talk about. Extra characters.
Down to the llama, lol moms.
We have 4 potential characters that might show up.
You want me to talk about those?
I want to tease. I'm going to draw this out. I'm going to make it excruciatingly long.
You want me to talk about the 4 potential characters that are going to maybe show up as playable characters in the game?
Yeah. How many of them are heroes?
2 of them are heroes.
2 of them are heroes. So are the other 2 sidekicks?
Yes.
I mean, I know this. For the fans, are any of them based on me?
Unfortunately not this time.
No, I know. I do this too. I came into it late. So there are no Jacksons.
There are no Jackson. I still think we should make you a villain.
I am pushing for it. I think if we get enough funding, and if the sales on the back end once the game actually comes out are good, I think making me a promo villain character would be sweet. That's just me.
I think it would definitely sell hundreds more copies.
No, like one more copy.
And it would be you.
It would probably be someone who is related to me, who's like, I want a game with my relative in it.
Only if your mum understands what the stretch goal is.
Just like,
I love you, Mum.
I know. I'm actually going to interject with a good question from Laniston, which is just the age range of the characters is pretty vast. Like,
it is actually, yeah.
Like, high school age kids, upwards of, like, for the heroes and sidekicks, like 60s, 70s. I don't know how old Grey Rabbit is or Kiritani is off memory.
58. Grey Rabbit is 58, and then Kiritani, I also don't remember off memory. James Kiritani is 67. Yeah. Man's getting on.
And then Oni is how old?
Oh, no, he's uncountable. He's like, he died at 41 and then got revived some years later. I think it was like 40 years later.
Yeah.
And he's been around for 2 years or something like that. So he's like 80-something, technically.
Yeah. But, like, there are older characters. I don't think there's any, at least in the hero and sidekick side, I don't think there are any older women.
That's a good point. No. We've got, I was going to say there's Kaguya, and I was like, she's a moon princess. She's probably kind of older, but no, she is 23.
Yeah.
25, 24. You know, because women got to look young and pretty for you.
Yeah. Which is like, that's, it's a criticism I've been having of games more and more these days. Like for everything you want to say about it, the new vampire role-playing game, like, there's all sorts of other issues around it. But if you look at the art and, like, the photography they did, they showcase such a wide range of, like, different aged appearances, upwards of, like, the 60, 70, 80-year-old grandma.
That's cool.
Who's a badass vampire, all the way down to, like, the kid who became a vampire. So, like, I'm glad that more companies are getting to see that representation, because everybody should be able to see themselves.
Jackson, you've got a name there on the. But yes, I do agree. Everybody should be able to see themselves in games. It's ridiculous that we don't. But
I can't read stuff like that right now. I've been playing so much Ghost of Tsushima. Like, I'm just. Ageism is a thing as well for Dana. Like, it's problematic. But things to work on. Things we're trying to work on.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about those characters. We're going back to it.
There's 4 characters.
Of these 4 characters, which is your favorite?
Oh, definitely Babelfish.
Yeah, Babelfish is real cool.
I do love Paparine as well, though.
Yeah. I like Paparine. I mean, I like all of them. They're all good. They're all good.
Yeah.
I don't remember the names of the other two.
Well, we've got World Creator.
Okay.
And did we just name him?
Was it just the Transporter?
I think we just named him Transporter, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Which, you know, thematically makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And as they're saying, like, villainous babies, hero babies, like, we need some Incredibles 2 Jack action.
Yeah. Yeah, we just named him Transporter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, spoiler, there are 4 characters that are going to potentially be made available based on the stretch goals.
I really hope so.
I mean, I hope so. Mostly because, like, it's a new IP, right? Like, we talked about that at the start of the stream. Where, you know, we're 42% in on day 1 for an entirely new IP that doesn't have any sort of establishment outside of Japan. Like, that's a pretty good,
that's quite a high
start.
funding goal. It is. I'm really excited.
And it's a higher pledge level than we normally do for other stuff.
Yep.
We've done like the 25 to 40 range, and now we're looking at 50 just because of how much stuff comes in the box.
Yeah, I mean, it is huge. It's just so large. But it does fit in the square shelves, whatever they're called.
The Kallax.
IKEA shelves. Yeah.
The standard IKEA shelves. They do. On 2 of the sides, they are, as per a question, like, they won't fit. They'll fit. You're going to be safe. We actually made sure.
Yeah. So it might stick out a little bit at the bottom, but...
I mean, it's such a display piece.
Yeah. You probably just want to, like, put it up somewhere around, you know, put it in your kitchen as a frame or...
Oh, but yeah, it definitely, like, as like, there's so many cool things about it. Which, there's a puzzle.
Oh, yeah. I'm really excited to do the puzzle, actually.
Yeah, there's going to be a puzzle, which you could absolutely put together in frame. I know people who do that. I don't.
I have 2 frames in my house at the moment.
But, I mean, frame puzzles are cool. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's just not something I do.
They keep falling down. It's really sad because we can't put any hooks in the thing, so we just have to put those sticky hooks on. And then when the heat, because Japan's really, really hot in the summer and pretty cold in the winter, so then the glue eventually heats and contracts, and eventually it just falls off. And thankfully, the puzzles haven't broken, but other things have.
I was lucky in the time that I got to live in Japan that I lived in a house, and I could just, like, put nails in walls and do whatever I wanted.
That's nice. Wow. Yeah. Ours was a newly refurbished flat, so... apartment, sorry.
It's just a flat, it's fine.
So, yeah, if we put holes in the walls, then we're going to have to do some jiggery-pokery to make sure that they actually don't look like that. I've just seen in chat somebody saying baby villains, and I'm just imagining, like, chibi versions of all the villains, and now I'm, like, super excited.
Oh, man.
I want chibi villains.
I mean, it would take more art asset creation, but, like, those would make some good pins, some chibi pins.
Yeah. Oh,
that stuff.
I think the Japanese Twitter, they were doing villain and hero, like, character introductions over the last, like, 2 months or 3 months or so. Okay. And they weren't quite chibi styles. They were more kind of like Cartoon Network, sort of almost Ben 10 type cartoon styles. And they're pretty adorable. So that would be kind of cool.
The 3M command hanging tape does work really well.
The what, sorry?
Somebody was talking about command hooks, like the M3.
Oh, yeah. Those are the ones. Yeah.
I figured.
Are they the ones that you like, that you pull down?
Sometimes. They also have a Velcro version, but yeah, usually like pull them down and they adhere in some capacity.
We have the 3M ones. I don't know if they're like command, but yeah, they usually last about a year or so. It's just the heat and the cold just squeezing. Like we have like light remotes instead of we have switches as well, but the remotes, because Japan's lights are weirdly high tech while their Wi-Fi and fax machines are not. But the the remotes that we keep sticking up on places, they keep falling down as well.
Fax machines are super secure. That is part of why they still exist.
Yeah, but when you have to like fax and handwrite coronavirus numbers and stuff, then it's just, it's silly. It's foolish.
It is very Office Space whenever I have to confront a fax machine. I just want to throw it out a window. I'm glad there's virtual fax machines online that you can use. But, oh man, I want to throw it out a window so bad every time I have to deal with one.
Someone asked me from the bank, actually. They were like, oh, you've received an international payment. We need to make sure that this isn't fraud. And I was like, well, I mean, it's not. I'm supposed to receive it. And they were like, how do we know we're not laundering? Can you fax us the invoice? Like, over the phone. She was like, can you fax me the invoice so that I know that you've already asked for this money? And I was like, no, I can't fax you the invoice. I don't own a fax machine. We're in 2020.
Wow.
She was like, so is that a no? I was like,
it's a no.
It's a no.
I figure we're going to wind down. We're about at an hour and a half. Like, this has been great. Everybody's been keeping us, like,
we are.
conversational. But I'm going to tell a brief story.
Do it.
My favorite game, just because I didn't answer it, is Spirit Island, which somebody else said. It's my favorite co-op game right now, until I get Tokyo Sidekick on the table. Like, I love Spirit Island, don't get me wrong. I love Greater Than Games. Shout out to Maggie over there. But, because the games industry is so, like, incestuous. I'm like, I know people. I'm gonna say names. Boop. Love Spirit Island. I love a ton of games. I used to be a game store owner, for those that don't know me. So I have a lot of games. I have like 1,000 board games. It's too many. And that's not a lowball estimate. That's an actual, like, I counted it at one point, and it was under 1,000, only by like 50 or so.
Wow. Did you ever organize them by color?
No. I organized them by style. That would have been beautiful.
Fair enough. But I saw... Yeah, I saw on Twitter, I think it was Ross Plays Games. He organized his board games by color, and it just looks so nice. And I've wanted to do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have the time. I would hate myself. So, but the story, when I lived in Japan years and years and years ago, almost a decade ago, cell phones were this big. Back then. Back in 2008, 2009, like 2010. Like, they were bricks.
Mm.
But that's because it had all of the information. Like, you could just swipe your phone and get on the bus. It's just like, okay, cool, thanks, Japan.
Foreign technology in this country.
If ever I leave, I'm going to be upset that I don't have this anymore. And sure enough.
They did have flip phones for the longest time, though. Like, you still see people walking around with their flip phones. They actually call them Galapagos phones in Japanese because they're so old.
That's fair. That's fair. But that's the story. It's just like, technology was so ahead in Japan when I was there, and that was still a decade ago, and it's still so ahead.
In some regards, definitely. And then in other regards, just like, why?
Because it works. In the same way that Japanese architects will tear down and rebuild buildings the exact same way because it's good practice.
I've never heard of that. I know they tear down buildings and stuff and rebuild because it's like they don't build them for longevity, these houses.
That too.
So, but I've never heard of that.
That's just what an architect friend of mine who like did architecture in Japan was like, yeah, part of it was because of the longevity aspect. The other part was because it actually is good practice to teach architects like actual fundamental techniques firsthand.
That's interesting and making me feel like that's so wasteful, but at the same time.
Wasteful. I mean, they would do it when it was necessary to do it. It wasn't just because, but multiple lessons in one, not a bad way to go.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of IPs, so I think we should wind down. And I think we can wind down on a really good question, which is, if you had an IP, just an anime style IP that you could make a game around, Maisy, what is your dream IP? What is the thing you want more than anything?
Full Metal Alchemist.
Is it Full Metal Alchemist?
Yeah, that would be an amazing game. Yeah. But I think I'd have to have it as like a partial AR board game, because I just want to be like the 16-year-old nerd I am. And have like sparks coming out of my fingers and shit. That'd be really cool. Yeah.
One day we will get those AR games, and it will be the best.
It will be. What about you, Jackson?
Oh man, I can't talk about it because. So, there's two answers. Because one, we can't talk about that we have, which was like weird happenstance that I was involved around, which was very nice. We'll get to announce that soon, but not just yet. And then I'll just like throw everything everywhere. Full Metal Alchemist is definitely on that list. I would kill for the My Hero Academia IP as anybody would, because that's money right there. That's just that's cash money. But to pull a deep cut, I've talked about it on other streams before. No Guns Life.
I don't know that one, but tell me about it.
It's a goofy noir-esque style show where it's a cyberpunk kind of future where people have undergone serious augmentation to some extent. They are called Extended, and there are Overextended, which is what the main character is, who has a gun for a head. He made himself into an actual weapon of war.
Right.
But it's all cybernetically done, but it's done through the pacing of a noir detective style show. So there's like a lot of investigations. There are some fights, but it's like very anime noir style, like similar to Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, like that darker tone.
Yeah.
But like not super slow pace, but like the pacing is really good. The story beats are really well done. That's my choice.
Cool. That would make a very beautiful, like an aesthetic game, right?
Yeah. No one would ever buy that game. Like, I don't think it is an IP that you should make a game around. Like, nobody would be like, No Guns Life, I'm gonna buy that game. Like they would My Hero
Well, maybe
Academia.
they would if it was a real decent, like, a decent system, right?
If it was a phenomenal game, absolutely. But, like, that's always the switch, right? Like, having a phenomenal IP that draws people to a good game, or a phenomenal game that draws people to an IP, and it's really hard to see how those are going to shake out.
That's true.
But there's a lot of really great answers in chat. Maisy, thank you, as always, for
thank you,
being willing to put up with me.
Oh, no, don't be silly. This was really fun.
I'm going to cut
If it's putting up with you, it's fun.
Wow, good. For those watching, I'm going to cut the stream. I'm going to still chat with Maisy shortly afterward, and I'm saying that mostly for Maisy's benefit, and to cut you out of all of the secrets we're going to share.
Sorry.
Ooh, sorry. Like, I just see a version of Spirit Island, but Princess Mononoke themed. Oh, that'd be so good.
What? Oh yeah.
You're killing
Actually,
me.
yeah, Ghibli board games would be amazing.
They would be. Yeah. They would be the creme de la creme.
Give me that Naishka.
Parting remarks, Maisy?
If you haven't already, please back the Kickstarter because it's amazing and it's going to be really fun. And it's, even if you don't play the game itself, it's like a story and it's my child. I made it. Please do it. It's great. I love it. Yeah. That was me on the spot. I'm sorry.
It's perfect. I don't want to be the last word when we go out of this. But again, if you're on the fence, back out $1, see the updates, follow along with us. We might have some surprises for you. Maisy, final word.
Tokyo Sidekick.
Goodbye.